It's like William.
Tony's my big brother. We have lots of fun, and he's somebody I can really talk to.
Sharing my time with William is the best thing I've ever done.
Society Bank and Big Brothers and Sisters are teaming up to raise money so more kids could have a big brother or a big sister. You can help by bowling a game at the Cloverleaf Lanes on March 13th or bowl with your league. Call today to register.
World exclusive. Tonya Harding's ex-husband faces a current affairs cameras in a no-holds-barred week of revealing interviews. The illicit affairs, the shocking attacks, a stunning expose. My Secret Tonya on the next current affair.
Monday at 7 on Channel 3. Jodine Costanzo and Art Edwards, 6 a.m. weekday mornings on Channel 3 News.
Up next on Channel 3 News, 2 young kids in a stolen car take Cleveland police for a wild ride. It ends in a crash.
A story with a happy ending for a local girl after a tragic fire and a sad loss.
Plus, researchers say they know whether your infant will become shy and timid or outgoing and sociable.
And can we expect more spring-like weather in the Doppler 3 workweek forecast?
Channel 3 News is next.
WKYC. We're building our station around you. And now, Channel 3 News.
Good evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Cory Thompson.
And good evening. I'm Habib. An incredible stolen car chase through Cleveland streets. A 13-year-old and a 9-year-old take police for a dangerous ride at high speeds. It ends with a crash and the arrest of some of the youngest car theft suspects imaginable.
It happened this morning near Cleveland State University. The crash that ended the chase involved 2 policemen.
Channel 3's Obie Shelton is in the newsroom with details. And Obie, at those ages, I'm sure those are some of the youngest thieves police have seen.
Yes, police say the driver was a 13-year-old boy, and he had a 9-year-old boy with him. But they led police on such an incredible chase, it's our top story. Police say the 13-year-old driver was daring and apparently thought he could make a Hollywood escape when police spotted him driving this stolen car downtown. Instead, police say he and the 9-year-old showed how inexperienced they were.
They weren't very good car thieves either.
The steering column was only partially peeled and partially working. Still, the driver led police on a chase down St. Clair to East 55th, back up Perkins to East 30th.
They weren't going that fast, but they were just elusive, and the car, the way they had the car column peeled, they weren't able to turn the wheel properly.
The young driver avoided the pursuing police car by slamming on his brakes to force a collision. Then he took off. The 2 officers were slightly hurt. Finally, the boy lost control and the car skidded into this pole at East 30th and Chester. The impact snapped the guy wire bolted to the sidewalk. The 2 boys were taken to jail, then released to their parents.
Second block.
The car had been stolen from Cleveland State University yesterday, and it's possible that someone else stole the car and the boys got their hands on it later. But again, officers believe the boy stole it because it was such a sloppy job. It's not known if either of the boys had a prior criminal record. Liz and Cory.
Shocking story. Thanks, Obie. Peace in Bosnia. Well, so far, UN officials say there's no need for bombing since both Serbs and Muslims have been turning over their big guns. The deadline on Serbs to remove their heavy artillery out of the Sarajevo area came and went quietly tonight. And although all the big guns are not in UN hands, enough were out of Serb hands, so officials saw no need for the airstrikes. A White House spokesman read a statement from President Clinton.
The vast majority of heavy weapons have either been removed from the zone or placed under UN control. Only a handful of areas remain outside of the UN control, and we expect very soon that most of those will be, or all of those will be within UN control.
Now that statement goes on to say the Serbs will be continually monitored so they keep within the guidelines of the ultimatum. If the Serbs rearm, they will be at risk. Now they're hoping the focus shifts from weapons to peace talks between the warring factions.
Police are considering it a suspicious death, but won't know for sure until the coroner does an autopsy. 25-year-old Brook Park man was found dead at a relative's home last night at West 42nd and Clark. Police believe the man was out drinking. The man had been having health problems and may have died of natural causes, but the coroner will find out for sure. No word tonight on the suspect in the murder of a prominent Cleveland activist's son. Someone shot and killed 25-year-old Osceola Jones in the Martin Luther King Jr. Plaza. Osceola is Harlel Jones's son. Police say the shooting was a payback after Jones tried to break up a fight at an East Side bar. Police tell us they are looking for a 22-year-old suspect.
Investigators were back out in Pike today searching ashes for the cause of a $300,000 house fire. This amateur video shows the Zimmerman home going up in flames. Fire officials don't know what started the fire. What they do know is it started in the garage. The family wasn't home when it broke out.
It could be a tense night along the Grand River as authorities keep a watchful eye out for flooding. The melting ice along the Grand River at Fairport Harbor and the rushing water ripped a barge from its moorings. The unguided barge was heading right towards Pickle Bill's restaurant, forcing people to evacuate. Now, fortunately, the barge stopped just short of the seafood restaurant and no one was injured. But there is a big mess to clean up. Huge chunks of ice are scattered around the harbor this evening.
The Rocky River is flowing freely tonight, and after devastating flooding and massive ice flows the last few weeks, that's a relief for residents. This is how clogged the river's mouth was on Wednesday. It stayed like that until last night, and that's when this huge crane came in, carried a barge, and it released a heavy wrecking ball. 4 hours of constant smashing tore up all the ice.
Heavy ball, and they bang it, and then they sweep it, and they are able to sweep the wood to the left, and then it goes right out to the lake.
Not only did the crane demolish the ice, but it also took out entire trees floating in the water. And now the cleanup can finally begin for people who live along the river. Many haven't even begun that task yet. To help out, folks are rocking the night away at a fundraiser. They're at Wilbert's Bar and Grill in the Flats. Local stores donated food and beverages, and several local bands are there playing tonight. All money collected from the night will go to help people whose homes flooded out.
Well, overall, quite a spring-like weekend out in Northeast Ohio, but will it last?
Wouldn't it be nice? Jon Loufman's in the Doppler 3 Weather Center with the first forecast.
It would be, but it won't happen. 3 days of 60-degree temperatures confirmed by a man who called us from Hinckley to tell us that the buzzards were in the park there. That's about a month early. But no, it is not a sign of spring. The spring showers continue across the north coast. Light generally and moving east at about 30 miles per hour. Tonight, we'll see cloudy skies. 36 are low. The temperatures have been tumbling. Patchy fog will be around, developing by morning. Monday, shades of gray. The skies will be cloudy, and our temperature will not recover much from our overnight low up to about 38. What's ahead for the remainder of the work week? Well, stick around. I'll tell you about that in a minute or two.
Thanks, John. A celebration today for some angels who earned their wings. 15 people joined the ranks of the Guardian Angels today. They'll be patrolling the streets of Cleveland soon, hoping to put a dent in the crime problem. The founder and president of the Guardian Angels flew in from New York for the event, as well as to hand out graduation certificates.
Because of the growing crime, gang problem, fueling the terrible spiraling violence rate, local Guardian Angels have opted to come out of retirement, bring the concept back, and introduce it to a new generation.
Now, you may remember the Guardian Angels came to Cleveland about 15 years ago, then disbanded after 5 years before being revived. The whole group toured city streets this evening.
A young Akron girl is fighting for life, and today folks showed she's not alone. 8-year-old Becky Skeen needs a bone marrow transplant. She suffers from leukemia. This afternoon, hundreds of people gathered to brighten her day and raise funds to help her pay for medical bills. Becky's father says he's hopeful all the attention will help his daughter.
Oh, it's great. It's a lot more than I ever expected it would be. This is real nice.
Becky's been looking for a bone marrow donor the last 2 months. So organizers hope to raise about $30,000 to help search for that bone marrow donor. Today's fundraiser included a basketball game, raffle, and bake sale. She was diagnosed with leukemia about 4.5 years ago.
Now, finally, a happy ending to what's been a tragic story that began last November. It's a story of love, fire, and death. Target 3 reporter Paul Orlousky describes a tragic fire, a teenager, and ultimately a sad loss replaced.
Come on. Angie Gondor's getting to know Zazzy, her new horse. Angie's an accomplished 4-H'er who, with her old horse, Chrissy, competed and won ribbons at several shows.
Easy.
Chrissy was a 1987 Christmas present that Angie spent 6 years getting into show form. But Chrissy, along with 9 other horses, died in a November fire at a boarding stable. After our report on delays in giving the dead horses proper burial, Tina Hadsel got involved. Herself a fire victim a dozen years ago, she donated Zazzy to Angie. It's a match that's working.
I'll start lunging her, and I'll eventually put a surcingle on her, which is a girth type mechanism for her to start setting her head and stuff. And We'll eventually get a saddle on her where she's lunging with the saddle.
It sounds like she's going to take her time and do it right. I'm anxious to see her this summer.
Anxious for that first ribbon?
Oh, yeah.
It's going to take lots of hard work and a whole lot of hours in the barn to bring Zazzy back into competition form. The horse has never been ridden, so Angie is starting with the basics.
She's a really fast learner, which is really good. Probably in about 2 months I'll be on her back. That's what I'm hoping.
My daughter's a real worker, and I know she'll do her best to have this horse be as well as Chrissy.
This new beginning is at a new home, Stonehenge Stable. Between now and the county fair in August, it's going to be home to Zazzy and a second home to Angie. Paul Orlousky, Channel 3 News.
Well, 2 other teenagers lost horses in the November fire. Angie, along with other teenagers and parents, are working to raise money so their horses can be replaced as well.
And up next on Channel 3 News, a medical mystery. Fumes from a patient knock out a doctor and nurse. Plus more trouble and turmoil for Tonya. She storms out of an interview after getting upset by a reporter's questions.
And later in News for Women, the women of summer are finally ready to take on the boys. Stay tuned.
The Jackson Family Honors is airing Tuesday, but now for the first time ever, we have an exclusive look at the Janet Jackson World Tour. The concert sold out, but we've scored the first backstage pass to talk to Miss Jackson before her 3-hour event. You won't want to miss this. Then, a skimpy bikini atop a tanned and toned body. She's the hot babe from Acapulco Heat, and she's on the next entertainment tonight.
Monday at 7:30 on Channel 3.
You're watching Channel 3 News with Cory Thompson and Liz Habib. Tonight's sports headlines from Chuck Galeti. And tomorrow's Doppler 3 weather from meteorologist Jon Loufman. Now, Channel 3 News continues.
A bizarre medical mystery unfolds in a California hospital tonight.
That tops our World Watch this evening. Officials had to evacuate the emergency room, and a doctor and nurse passed out because of a sickening smell, and it was coming from a patient. Doctors were treating a cancer patient who was having a heart attack. They drew blood and noticed white crystals in it, so they smelled it. They say it smelled like ammonia, and that's what made members of the staff pass out. No word on what it actually was, and patient died. Heavy rains caused serious mudslides in Southern California. At least 3 people were killed in accidents on mud-soaked freeways. Major highways and streets were forced to close as mudslides are now hitting areas plagued by ferocious brush fires just a few short months ago.
High winds whipped through St. Louis, causing problems. Looks like someone took a sledgehammer to this car lot, but it was actually the wind there. Winds blew out the windows in over 300 minivans and other cars on the Chrysler manufacturing plant. And the damage didn't end here. It spread throughout the area. From winds to water, this near Milwaukee, Wisconsin. On some streets, it's easier to get around by boat. Mother Nature is pounding this area with a 1-2 punch. Last week, heavy snow. This week, the thaw, coupled with rain. It's turning once tranquil streams into raging torrents.
This is the scene of a tragic plane crash outside Kansas City, Missouri. 6 people on board the ill-fated plane, and 3 have died. 2 are in critical condition. Officials say the plane was having trouble in the air and tried to make an emergency landing. Did you ever get nervous in an elevator? Well, a lot of folks in Chicago had reason after a crowd lifted into a hotel elevator and they fell. 10 people were hurt when the elevator fell 5 floors. The floor of the elevator buckled, the roof caved in, and passengers were thrown around. Officials say the elevator was overcrowded. 6 more people than allowed crowded on board. A hotel spokesperson says the elevator never went into a free fall.
It never seems to let up. Tonya Harding today stormed out of an interview with an American news program. Harding was answering questions about how fairly she'd be judged in the competition. The interviewer quoted 2 Czech judges, saying they'd be influenced by the Nancy Kerrigan ordeal. Well, that was apparently the last straw. Harding allegedly threw off her microphone and stormed out.
I want you all to please welcome the king of pop, my good friend, Mr. Michael Jackson.
It started out with cheers and screams, but transformed to boos and jeers for Michael Jackson on stage last night. He was with his family recording the Jackson family reunion in Las Vegas. And get these ticket prices. Geez, some folks paid $50, some paid $1,000. Why so disappointed? Michael didn't sing solo. He sang with the entire family in the finale.
Up next on Channel 3 News, if you suffer from depression, doctors say there's a new drug on the way that might help. That's in Health Watch.
Plus, researchers say they know whether your infant will become shy and timid or outgoing and sociable. We'll tell you what to look for.
And one man's trash is another man's musical art. We'll explain. Stay tuned.
Hello, I'm Judd Hempel. People say television news doesn't always tell the stories about where they live. Now you can play an active role in news coverage by becoming a Channel 3 News Neighbor. I'll be holding Channel 3 News Neighbor meetings throughout Greater Cleveland to hear and discuss your concerns. See your ideas become a part of Channel 3 News. To volunteer, call Talkback 3 at 344-3330. Leave your name, address, and phone number. News Neighbors, another way we're building Channel 3 around you.
It's filled seats and trophy cases. It's made hearts pound and feet scramble. And at times, every eye in the arena has been on it. But this year, it will affect Cleveland in a much different way. One home at a time. The Cavaliers and Fannie Mae have formed Cleveland's home team, a partnership to revitalize neighborhoods in Cleveland. And that's a goal worth shooting for.
Well, it's a disorder that's often misunderstood, but how doctors say they may have a breakthrough.
In Health Watch 3 tonight, trying to tackle depression in a way that's safe for everyone. Researchers now say a new drug called Effexor will be on the market soon, and it could be the breakthrough they've been looking for. In the past, many people suffering from depression have been given Prozac, but that often has dangerous side effects, while the new drug has been shown to have fewer side effects.
This drug appears to be, at this point, safe enough and comfortable enough for tolerance for patients that it might become what's called a first-line drug.
Effexor isn't available yet, but doctors believe it will be approved soon. They say depression is not always because of problems you may face, but because of a physical change you may have in your brain or body.
Can a person's temperament be indicated as early as in the crib? Some people say so. Harvard researchers studied infants in the crib. They presented a stimuli, and some infants became highly aroused and responded to the stimuli. Others were more laid back and more difficult to arouse. Now listen closely. The easily aroused infants became shy or timid later in life, while those more relaxed became outgoing and sociable. As usual with science, there are exceptions. Researchers say a child's temperament is not necessarily set for life. One's environment has more to do with it.
Opening day for baseball is just around the corner. Spring training is underway, this time with a new team on the block. It's an all-women's team, and that's tonight's News for Women. Tryouts were held last week. Now the team of female baseball players are training for the first All-American female minor league team. This Los Angeles woman is hoping barriers are broken so her daughter can have the same opportunities in athletics as her son.
I take my hat off to him because everyone's got a chance to go out and try to do something. And who knows, there may be some girl that we don't even know about right now.
More than 40 women have been picked for spring training, but only 20 will suit up. The Colorado Silver Bullets, as they're called, will play men's minor league teams and college teams.
Well, you know what they say, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Well, in this case, another man's musical menagerie. This is the sound of recycling. New York composer Skip LaPlant makes music with what most people throw away. He turns anything he finds in the trash into a work of musical art, from broiler pans to butane bottles and peanut butter jars.
All this stuff out there. Some of it nobody's had a clue as to what to do, but if we keep thinking about it, it's something to do something with. You know, maybe we can solve some problems that way.
Kind of interesting there. Classical music training is where LaPlant discovered these skills. His first love, he says, is making music, but he's recycling an awful lot of trash along the way. Up next on Channel 3 News, in sports, the Cavs take the sting out of the Hornets, but it takes a while.
Take a look at this new Olympic sport. fire juggling while skiing downhill in a turtle suit. Well, actually, we'll tell you what it's really all about.
Well, the Sheriff's Department reports that ice jam on the Grand River extends 3/4 of a mile upriver from Fairport Harbor. It won't be ice, but falling temperatures that we'll have to contend with. I'll tell you all about it in just a few minutes.
She said that she would kill me if I showed my face in the high school.
Were you ever bullied?
I was bullied so bad I was going to commit suicide.
Or were you the bully?
One boy, I made him eat a grasshopper.
Are bullies really tough or just tormented?
All the stuff that's built up inside of me, I just let it out on other people.
What do we do when a child comes home to us and says, I'm being bullied?
Victims confront bullies. Next, Sally. Monday morning at 9 on Channel 3.
A space heater can warm a chilly room and make everyone more comfortable, but it must be used safely. Don't let children play with or near a heater. Curious fingers could get a shock or burn. Remember, space heaters do get hot, so keep them away from drapes and furniture, and never dry clothes or other items with your heater. Only use a space heater for extra warmth, and be sure to follow all safety instructions.
A cold front is moving through greater Cleveland right now. The temperature has dropped 7 degrees in just the past hour. Let's take a look at a pretty shot of the skyline from North Coast Harbor. Bernie Samolis brought this one back, and it sure is nice. But there is some fog forming there along the skyline and in other parts across the North Coast. Doppler 3 radar showing a little bit of light rain lingering on as it moves eastward through the course of the nighttime hours, giving way to cloudy skies. Our statistics include a high of 60 at 2 this afternoon, and then again at 4:46. Our current temperature is the low so far. We'll be falling through the course of the night. 36 and 20 is where we are on average for the 20th of February. And again, 54.2 inches of snow so far this season. With our 46 degrees, we have a relative humidity of 96%. High relative humidity, low winds, makes for great fog formation. Do be careful tomorrow morning as you head off to work or play or wherever you're about. 30-16 on the barometer. It continues to fall. The temperatures here, 57 at Steubenville and Chesapeake. They have a nice southwesterly airflow. Temperature here, 40 degrees at Toledo, where the winds are out of the northwest. That front moving through here right now is going to knock the temperatures down as it comes. Columbus has got light rain. Cincinnati has some light rain. Rather than talk about it, let's take a look at the past several hours worth of radar echoes. They're moving off to the northeast at 25 to 35 miles per hour. Again, the front is right about here, and the clearing is right here. It'll be clearing from northwest to southeast during the course of the night. Eastern Texas got heaviest hit with rainfall, hardest hit, I guess I should say. 4 inches of rain through portions of East Texas along the coast where strong thunderstorms have now let up. This is all out ahead of that same frontal system that's coming through here right now and continuing off to the southeast, taking the stormy weather with it. Cold up here. I'll show you just how cold in just a minute or two. The high pressure will be building in, but it won't clear out the skies until Tuesday. And then this next system that's causing a lot of trouble on the California coast brought up to 1.25 inches of rain to Los Angeles. Mudslides closing down portions of Pacific Coast Highway, up to a couple of feet of snow in the Sierra Nevadas. Yes, cold. 7, 2, single figures now, dropping below 0 tonight, and these cold readings will envelop us again from northwest to southeast as the night and the day tomorrow progress. Here's the way our forecast shapes up. Through the night, cloudy skies, patchy fog will be developing. Watch it. Do take extra time tomorrow morning. 36 gray skies and a seasonable high of 38, but not much of a recovery from last night's lows as we move into the day tomorrow, or rather on Tuesday. It'll be increasing cloudiness, 34, and the temperatures stay in the 30s right on through Wednesday. That storm in the Pacific heads our way to bring us some rain or snow, 30 and 32 for Thursday and Friday, respectively. That just about tells the weather story. Winter has returned. Here's Chuck Galeti with all the sports.
Cavs tips it off with the Hornets today, while Charlotte is playing without Alonzo Mourning and Larry Johnson. In the second half, the Cavs would be without Brad Daugherty, who had to sit out with a bad back. Let's go to Charlotte. Bobby Phil's picking his game up today. Here, the steal will go all the way to the hole, slam it in, and the foul. He had a career-high 23 points today for Cleveland, but Charlotte would not go away. Watch Eddie Johnson. He'll bomb the three-pointer. This would tie the game at 92. It would go into overtime at 92, but in OT, Mark Price would get hot. He had 7 points in overtime. He had 22 in the game, and the Cavs win again on the road, 105-99. 102-101. Right here on 3 Today, Bill Murray watching the Bulls and Knicks from Madison Square Garden, and it looks like the party may be over for the world champions as the Knicks just poured it on today, holding Chicago to 68 points, winning 86-68. In auto racing, the NASCAR boys geared up at Daytona for the Big 500. Let's get to it. And, of course, a moment of silence before the race for drivers Alan Kwicki, Davey Allison, Neil Bonnet, and rookie Rodney Orr, who all passed away this past year. When the race did get going, lap 62 would take out 9 cars, including Rusty Wallace and Kyle Petty. And in the end, it would be Sterling Marlin passing Ernie Irvan to win his first race ever. Marlin, who has raced for 17 years, came in second 9 times. And his first victory is the biggie in Daytona. In Lillehammer, no medals today for Team USA, but Peekaboo Street, who yesterday won the silver in the downhill, sits second in the women's combined after today's first round. As for Johan Olive Koss, he truly is the boss. He has raced 3 times and set 3 world records en route to 3 gold medals as the Norwegian has taken over as the hero of the Winter Games. Today, he captures the gold in the men's 10,000 meters. In ice dancing, 1984 gold medalists Jane Torville and Christopher Dean of Great Britain lead heading into the final round. Here you're seeing video of Sheffield Lakes, Elizabeth Punselin, and Jared Swallow. They sit in 14th place. In Winter Haven, the position players have begun to show up for spring training, and the Indians should have a full team ready to go Tuesday. Meanwhile, the world champion Toronto Blue Jays had a couple pitchers arrested early this morning. As pitchers Todd Stottlemyre and Dave Stewart are out on bail after an altercation with police outside a Tampa nightclub. Stottlemyre is accused of pushing an officer, while Stewart has been charged with punching another in the face. And while they took their swings, the guy who was paid to punch, Tommy Morrison, was back in the ring tonight. He knocks out Tui in the 3rd round. On the links, the Bob Hope Classic wrapped up here on 3. Scott Hoke, just incredible this weekend, winning the event, finishing -26 in Indian Wells, California. On the ice, the Jacks winners again today in Kalamazoo, 4-2. Peter Sikora, a goal and an assist for the Jacks in the win. At the Convocation Center, it was the Crunch playing soccer. Watch the moves here by Carriage. He would get the pass to Tanner, and the Dayton Dynamite don't explode today. The Crunch wins this one 20-15, and USA loses to Sweden 3-1 in the Joe Robbie Cup. That is the last thing they'll do before they get ready for the big World Championships in the United States this summer.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, okay.
Well, sure, we've seen a little warming trend this weekend, but if you're still looking for winter...
It can't be too far away, but what better place to be right now than Boston Mills and Brandywine Ski Resorts? It's the annual Winter Carnival weekend, and lots of folks hit the slopes. Even Tommy Tropic, as he's called, the torch-juggling turtle. Tommy ended his program with a nearly flawless exhibition. Judges gave him a high mark. And if they ever make this an Olympic event, you can bet he'll be there.
Up next on Channel 3 News. Just fiddling the day away.
Little toe-tapping tunes there for some serious prizes. We'll explain. Stay tuned.
What's next on Springer?
The law says they had to accommodate me. They broke the law.
She's suing the movie theater that wouldn't let her in because she's fat.
Here was my worst nightmare coming true. It's just like being stripped naked in front of everybody.
She says her weight is a disability, but other large people say fat is not a handicap.
We may be overweight, but we're not deaf.
If you can't fit in, you can't get in. Get the weight off or stay at home. I don't want to be tagged as handicapped.
Is fat a handicap? Next, Jerry Springer. Monday morning at 10 on Channel 3.
Life for children is an incomprehensible nightmare.
Parent is missing, they're orphaned. We see starvation, shelling, snipers.
And the real risk of going out in the streets.
Food, medicines, clean water, counseling for traumatized children. None of those things would have happened without UNICEF.
They have a right to have a future, and they have the right to survive.
Please, help UNICEF help the children. For more information, call 1-800-75-CRISIS.
Now a preview. Be sure to tune in tomorrow night at 11 for a special report. Channel 3's Leon Bibb will have a special on baby brokers. We'll hear from the real-life Debbie Freeman, a single woman who becomes a victim of baby brokering fraud. Follows the NBC movie Baby Brokers. It stars Sybil Shepherd, and that's at 9 on Channel 3. And finally tonight, you've heard of Fiddler on the Roof. What about Fiddlers in the Park?
It's the sound of fiddling. It's been around for centuries, but hasn't lost any of its charm, at least for these folks. It's the annual old-time fiddle contest in Tucson, Arizona. Fiddlers from around the country gather to entertain and compete for cash prizes. Music to the ears.
And with that, we're out of here. Thanks for watching tonight. I'm Habib.
And I'm Cory Thompson. Be sure to tune into the Channel 3 News at 6 o'clock in the morning. Have a good week. Good night.
Good night.
It's Wiki Wacky, it's Wacky Vicky, it's Wacky Vicky Week, it's Wacky Week on Vicky.
Cross over to one of the wackiest weeks ever.
I'm a regular guy, a good Jewish boy.
We'll take on wrestling's roughest, set a wacky world record, gender bend with crossover fashions. Pick the first ever Mr. Vicky.